Ahlan, I'm Samir, and welcome back to Sahtain, a series of cooking and farming focused shows brought to you by Growing Palestine. Please open up your chat box. We'll be sharing our recipes and other info in there as the show goes on. At Growing Palestine, we believe in the importance of continuing the traditions and culture of those who came before us. To us, it is important to cook the recipes of our ancestors and to protect and plant our unique heirloom seed. It's all part of protecting and celebrating our agricultural heritage. So with this in mind, today's cooking theme is Ramadan sweets. Speaking of sweet, before we start, we want to show you a quick video featuring one of our favorite farmers, the very sweet Vivian Sansour.
I come back to Palestine and the paradise of green terraces that was so abundant and diverse with apricots, heirloom ancient grapes are disappearing. I wanted my culture to still be a living culture, a culture that is now and not a culture that is some relic of the past. The seed needs to know the soil. It's not enough for the seed to exist in a box somewhere and be frozen. That's okay, important work, but we also have to keep the seed alive. It's a small town that was really a village full of terraces. And so my early childhood memories are all in soil and trees and climbing trees and learning from worms and flowers and plants. There are many farms across the Jordan Valley, for example, which was the breadbasket for Palestine, where we got a lot of our fruits and vegetables. Today, I visit farmers there and they're literally dying of thirst. Their farms have been transformed from diverse biocultural paradises to literally deserts. Israel controls the water sources, and even in Palestinian villages where we do have underground water, Israeli Makarot, which is the Israeli water company, puts pipes underneath people's communities and villages and sucks the water out. They have to pay the Israeli company for the water that comes from their own community. Olive farmers who cannot access their trees anymore, and they have to get permits to go harvest their olives. And usually only one or two people get the permit in a family. You're talking about a whole generation that is growing up not having a relationship with the land. The Seed Library has been an amazing learning space for me, for people in my community, and for people all over the world that have engaged with us in this process where, oh my God, you grew this corn here and you use this much water. Oh, maybe it grows here, it doesn't need water. And we need this for the future. So for me, it's an initiative to play, to fall in love, and to learn about what is the future of food for us in the world, and what is the future that we want. We recently collaborated and partnered with the Hudson Valley Seed Library in New York. We developed, these Sahtain seed packets where our beloved Palestinian Sahtain pumpkin is growing in the Hudson Valley and being shared with people across the world. It actually tastes like nothing else, I think. It has a sweetness and a slight bitterness. It also has many values in Arab medicine. People love it. and they really consider Yaqdeen like a mother. A seed is the container for life. You are a seed, I am a seed. And so when you see something that has been dismissed and put aside come to life, you start to understand that even in the moments you feel powerless, there's actually still a part of you that has life, that has power. Seeds offer us this opportunity to declare ourselves, to love ourselves beyond all the lies that tell us that we're dead, we're finished, we don't exist even. I have been told to my face by people who ask me where I'm from, oh, you're from Palestine? That doesn't exist. So when I offer to my people and to the rest of the world the story of our seed heritage, the story of wheat, the story of zucchini that grows with zero irrigation, the story of tomatoes that also grow in the summer and live off of the dew, you can't deny the beauty of that. And you cannot deny also the power of that, because it tells a cultural story that is ancient, that is alive today.
I love Vivian's passion and love of the earth. It's something really special. So, Growing Palestine has an urgency to educate and advocate for our Palestinian agricultural heritage. Why? Because therein lies the key to protecting that which is most dear to us, the land, our land, Palestine. Today, the challenges of the pandemic have forced many of us to reassess our lives and focus more on what's important. We realize now more than ever our strong connection to nature and the need to be more gentle and respectful to the earth. And the pandemic has created greater awareness about food security and food sovereignty as well. After all, how many of us are now planting? Part of this is because it's in our DNA. Our history is in the Fertile Crescent, long considered to be the cradle of civilization. We come from a mix of ancient people. We are a Magluta of the Hittites, Assyrians, Babylonians, and Canaanites. Our people have survived centuries, and in those centuries, our ancestors cultivated the land in a symbiotic relationship, learning, improving, and refining. They respected the land, and in return, the land nourished them. The land provides food sovereignty, meaning our land is protected, our food supplies are secured, and our survival is guaranteed. This is why it's so important to support organic farmers in Palestine. Our farmers are on the front line. They continue to farm in the old tradition. Sometimes it's referred to as slow farming. It simply means that we farm with respect for the land. No GMOs, no agribusiness, no monocultures, no Monsanto-like exploitation. By continuing this practice, our farmers are protecting our biodiversity. By protecting our biodiversity, they guard what is left of our land. This is why we have this sense of urgency. To support Palestinian organic farmers is to protect every inch, every dunam of our land. Today, GP invites you into our homes. The recipes we are going to be sharing with you today are recipes that developed over time and came from a sustainable agrarian culture. They are recipes perfected and shared from family to family, neighbor to neighbor, generation to generation. Here we go.
Marhaba, tfaddalo. Welcome to my kitchen, Ramadan Kareem. Today I'm going to be making mahmoul, and I'm so excited to share this wonderful recipe with you all. It's a wonderful cookie, and it's served by both Muslims and Christians throughout the Middle East during religious holidays. During Ramadan, especially during Eid, I'm sure you'll find this cookie on every tabletop. So there are a lot of different recipes. I am going to use an old recipe handed down from our ancestors over generations, and it's a very basic recipe. Wholesome, all natural ingredients, and not a lot of bells and whistles, but a beautiful, beautiful deliciousness and nutrition wrapped up in a small package. It's just a gift. So I'm going to start with a little Arabic proverb that my mother-in-law always used to say. And she used to say, في كل بطن في خلوة ما بيعبيها إلا الحلوة. And the translation is, in everyone's stomach, there's a little empty spot, and the only way you can fill it is with a sweet treat. So hopefully this will do the trick. I'm going to start with semolina. Now, the ingredients are, you'll see the ingredients in the chat. It is it's a large recipe. You can cut this recipe in half, you'll still get good results. The reason it's a large recipe for me is because I make it during holidays and I share it with lots of people, so I need to make a lot. So here I've got the 9 cups of semolina, and semolina is just a beautiful flour. It is it's made from a spring variety of durum wheat, high protein, high fiber, magnesium, and B vitamins. It's just a wonderful foundation for a cookie full of good stuff. What we're going to add to this is ghee. I've got my ghee right here. I've measured out 3 cups of ghee, and I'm going to add it here. And then what we're going to do is we're just going to mix this. We have to mix this together. And what you want to do is you want to kind of rub it together. That'll help to embed the butter, the ghee, into the semolina. And I'm just going to work this for a little while. One thing that so our ancestors basically, they would have had in the bottom of their home, they would have had their livestock. And so they would have had their sheep. And the sheep would have given them their cheeses, their yogurts, their kishik, their labnehs, their butters. And they needed to make these, so they were very self-sustaining, and they needed to have these products last all year. So when it came to butter, they had to make it stable. And so they made clarified butter. And the way they did it, and that is in fact what ghee is, the way they did that is they took the water, extracted water from the butter. They were left with butter solids. And the butter solids, believe it or not, are like a superfood. They're full of vitamin C, A, D, K, vitamin E, so much vitamin E that it is an antioxidant because of the vitamin E levels. And it's got omega-3. So I'll take a piece of mamul any day over a piece of salmon. Anyway, so I've got some that's already mixed. Oh, but what we're going to do first, sorry. I'm going to mix it. Then we're going to cover it. You can cover it with plastic wrap, or much prefer do it the bio-friendly way, the way our ancestors would have, and just use a kitchen towel. And set this aside, and it needs to set aside for 18 hours for overnight. Or 2 days, anywhere in between there. But you do really want, for best results, you really do want it to soak up all that ghee overnight. So now I'm going to do the fillings. So we've got 3 fillings traditionally. There's a walnut filling, a date filling, and a pistachio filling. And just because we don't have a whole lot of time, I'm going to do 2 of the 3 fillings. I'm going to do walnut and date. And the pistachio filling is done exactly the same way as the walnut filling. So you could just apply the same practice to the pistachio. I'm going to start with dates, and the dates that we're using are baking dates. When you shop for this, you want to find a pliable package, nice and soft. It should say baking dates on it, and they need to be pitted. So what the recipe calls for is 3 packages, and I've already got them. I've already got the 3 packages here. I've already put them in my bowl. And what you're going to add to the 3 packages is 3/4 cup of ghee again. So I'm going to add that. And we're going to work this. We're going to work this in. I don't know if you can see, but I'm working it in. Just want to massage it until it's all incorporated. Now, dates are also a superfood. They've been a staple in the Middle East forever. And they are full, again, potassium, magnesium, copper, B12, iron, full of antioxidants. And again, the second layer of nutritional value in this cookie. So here I'm going to work this. An interesting story about dates. We, of course, in Palestine, we have dates in Riha because the Riha is Jericho, and Jericho is the oldest city in the world. And the reason we have dates there is because the climate is particularly suited to date cultivation. Unfortunately, today we have agribusiness in Jericho, and we have a group of investor businessmen who have gone in on a 30-year deal to cultivate dates. And I'm just going to stop my story a minute just to show you that now I'm going to roll them up. I'm going to make balls, and you want to make a ball a little bit larger than a gumball. Set these down here. So they've gone in and they've done a 30-year project where they'll extract huge profits from the date grows. But at the end of 30 years, the problem is that because of the over-cultivation and the exploitation, the land will no longer be any good and the date groves will be dead. So there are small farmers that in Jericho that are working day and night to preserve the heirloom date, and this is the date that is full of all these vitamins and these rich minerals, and that we have our ancestors have really sort of nourished for years. So I've got enough there. I've got quite a few there. I'm going to set this aside, and I'm going to move. Oh, and if anyone's interested in more about that what's going on in Jericho, just Google Jericho dates and slow food, and there's an Italian organization that wrote a really good article on this. Next, I'm going to do walnuts, and you want 2 cups of walnuts, and the best thing to do is to pulse these in a food processor. You can chop your nuts any way you like, but this is really the fastest way. And what you want to come up with, I'm going to put it in my bowl. What you want to end up with are, I would say, 3/4 finely chopped and 1/4, sort of chunky meats. I don't know if you could see that, but that's what you want to end up with. And then to this, what you're going to add is a simple syrup. Now, simple syrup is just that. It's simple to make. It's 2 cups of sugar, 1 cup of water. You want to bring it to a rolling boil. Then you want to add a sprinkle of orange blossom water or rose water, and a little sprinkle of lemon juice, and a little pinch of cinnamon. And then you just mix that up. You let your syrup cool, and then what you're going to do is you're going to add it to the walnuts. And for a little extra punch, we have another teaspoon of cinnamon. And what you're going to do is mix this up. You're going to mix this all up. Now, walnuts, again, anything that you stuff with, this cookie is just a super healthy, wholesome cookie. Walnuts, again, protein, they're full of fiber, calcium, and magnesium, potassium, iron, and omega-3 fatty acids again. So what you want to do, you want to get the consistency of this to be so that you're able to make this. What you want to do is you just want to squeeze it like that, and then you'll come up with a little ball of walnuts. And you want to have a few of those here. And then I'm going to move on to the next thing. You can make a bunch of those. Something that's interesting, if you notice, everything that we've made in the cookie so far comes from the homestead. Walnuts, dates, wheat. We were a wheat producing country long before we ever were introduced to rice. So all these things would have grown around the homestead. The sheep gave the milk, the butter, and our ancestors planted for life. So you would never have them planting green just for the sake of green. The idea of planting greenery just for decor would have been considered wasteful of the land. So what they want to do is they want to always plant a plant that can give them fruit or give them vegetables, give them livelihood, and they in return would nourish the land, cycle out the crops, make sure there was biodiversity, and make sure they never over cultivated or overextended their stay, if you will. All right, next we're going to do the dough. One thing I did forget to do is when I was making the date balls, we do also want to make a few dates in the shape of a cigar, because there is going to be one ma'mula that is going to be shaped a little differently. So you do also want to make a few of those. I've got a few here just so I can show you. All right, now we're going to go and we're going to pull up our smeed with the ghee. And now you can see how luscious. Luscious, I mean, look at that, just rich, 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 rich. It's butter and smeed, or butter and semolina. And to this, what we're going to be doing is we're going to add to this yeast. I'm going to show you how to use it because I think people get a little bit confused about yeast. So for yeast, we're going to do 6 teaspoons of the dry yeast, and I've got it measured out. Oh, here it is. I've got it measured out right here. So we're going to do 6 teaspoons of yeast. We're going to do 1 teaspoon of sugar. So here's the sugar. And what you want to add is you need water. It has to be lukewarm water. And you're going to go for about 1/3 of a cup of water. And so I'm going to add the water here. And then, let's see. And you can get if you don't have lukewarm water out of your faucet, you can microwave it for about 15-20 seconds. Then you want to stir it up, make sure it's nicely incorporated. You want to top it off with a little dish, and you want to just set it aside. Now, how do you know when it's ready? Do you see how it's to here? It has to double. When your yeast doubles, you're ready to go. When it doubles, you're going to add that to your smeed and ghee. You're going to also add 18 teaspoons of sugar, which I've got measured out here. And then I've got one that I've already worked on. You're going to add your milk. Now, milk, again, you want lukewarm milk. You need 3 cups of lukewarm milk, but you're going to work this milk into it gradually. So I've already worked a little bit of milk into this, but I just wanted to show you how you get the consistency. So I'm going to add a little more milk. And I'm going to work it in. I might need a little more. You see that, how it's nice and pliable, just like a very, very soft clay. But it holds together really nicely, but it's like a very soft clay. And that's what you want to do. You want to work with this all in together until you get this beautiful, pliable dough. And then you want to roll out some balls. So I'm going to start doing that. I'm going to start rolling out balls. And one thing that I noticed about our agrarian culture is that the way we talk carries over from our ancestors till today. Because we're an agrarian culture, you would hear people even today say something like, if they're going to visit Palestine during the fall, they might say nazla al-tin wal-'inab, and that means I'm going to the figs and the grapes. They would never say I'm going in the fall. That's how they would always say it. If they were going in the spring, they might say nazla al-escadenia, which means I'm going to the loquat, one of the most delicious fruits in the world, but it's only something that is ripe in spring. So then you know that you're going in the spring. And so it's a beautiful flowery language, and you can see it. It's laced with the harvest and the agriculture that people made their livelihoods from. And another good one is, so apricots have a very fleeting season. It's a very, very short season. So if you don't believe something or you're not sure about it, you would say mishmish, which kind of means because the mishmish is such a fleeting season, it's like, I doubt it would come and go. I wouldn't notice. So just thought those were a little interesting. That's kind of interesting. So let's move on now. Now we've got everything ready to go. Now the fun part. We are going to now use our molds. Now our molds, look at these. Can you see this? Can you see the pattern? I hope you can see the pattern, because it's the pattern of a raindrop. And these beautiful olive wood molds are made in the design of the raindrop, because we're an agrarian culture, we're farmers, and we're waiting for the rains, and we revere the rains. And so in celebration, the cookie takes on the design of the raindrop. Isn't that beautiful? And I'll show you just a few more really quickly. Look at how beautiful that one is, if you can see it. One more style right there. There you go, raindrops. All right, so I'm going to start with a date ma'moul. I'm going to take one of my balls of dough, and I'm going to just press like so. I'm going to stick this in like so, and I'm going to cover it all up. I don't know if you can see, I think you can. And then we're going to just roll it ever so gently. got some smead, and you want to have smead on the side in a bowl, and you just want to roll it around in the smead. This keeps the smead from sticking. Okay, put it in here. Isn't that beautiful? Beautiful, right? So that's a date one. That you generally, the date is done in this shape. Now I'm going to do a nut one. I'm going to just pick up a dough. And again, same process. Take one of my little balls of walnuts and I'm going to cover it up. And now I'm going to get the one that is for, where is the one for? Oh, this one. Because the round kind of mound is the one that you use traditionally for nuts. I'm going to roll the ball again in the smead. I'm going to put it in the mold, press it down ever so gently. And there you have it. Look at that. Beautiful. Now the third one I'm going to do is the one that I had mentioned with that we do with the that we use the cigar shape dates with. So you kind of want to roll it out like so. I don't know if you can see what I'm doing here, but you want to pat it out. You want to take one of your cigar-like date formations and you want to embed it inside the dough. So the dough, and then you want to roll it. Okay. And then you're going to just twirl it like so. So you end up with a little circle. Now the fun part. Have my little pincher and we're going to use the smead, dip the pincher in the smead, and then we're going to make a lovely little design all the way around. And this can also be done, if you don't want to use a mold, you can do this straight up on the ma'moul as well. But look how lovely that is. Isn't that beautiful? So that's our third style. You can see all of our styles here. If you wanted to just pinch ma'moul, if you just had a ma'moul piece, you could just pinch it on the outside. I'm sure you've seen this as well. Beautiful again. So there you have it. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to get this out of the way. And I do have some that are just finishing up in my oven. And look at that. Look at how lovely those are. Ma'moul. Aren't they beautiful? So while I'm plating this, what I'm going to do is I'm going to plate a nice little selection up here. And it's interesting to note that we've always been an agrarian culture, and we were a very sustainable agrarian culture prior to Zionist Europeans coming into our area. And one thing that's an interesting, fun fact is that, in fact, the Jaffa orange, at some point in history, in the 30s, they were able to pay 500 cartons of oranges for a Mercedes-Benz. Fun fact. Here you have it. Look at that. I'm going to put a little bit of sugar on here. Yep. So these recipes are handed down with care. The farmers are the keepers of our agricultural heritage. I think this recipe is a gift. Please remember, Palestinians have a living culture, as do all indigenous people. Make the cookie, feed your friends, feed your families. Please remember the farmers. And during Ramadan and during the Eid, and when you're doing zakat this year, please think of the farmers. Sahtain.
Wow. Who knew ma'moul could look like sweet little raindrops from God? All right, on to the next cookie. Wait, not so fast. Ramadan isn't just about the cookies. Ramadan is a time to reflect. Please consider our farmers who, against all odds, do the work they do every day to nourish our communities and to keep our agricultural heritage alive for generations to come. The irony is that the people who provide for and sustain the community are the people most at risk of dying out. Every day is a new challenge. Our land for grazing animals is diminishing. The pressure to destroy our biodiversity is increasing, and water is continually being stolen and siphoned by the surrounding colonies. Our farmers are under extreme pressure and they need your help. You'll see a link in the chat for our emergency COVID-19 fund for farmers. Please consider donating what you can. And as per usual, 100% of your donation goes directly to the farmers. We, the board, cover all administrative expenses so that the farmers can receive your total amount. Our farmers are leaders in their communities. Not only do they share their crop with the less fortunate, but they give away seed and teach people to plant their own gardens. When I reflect on that, it makes me proud to invest my time, my money, and energy on human beings like them. Speaking of good human beings, our next GP chef du jour has a very special recipe with a very special secret ingredient. It's that favorite ingredient of ours, that thing that reminds you of your grandmother, that thing that strikes up nostalgia, that thing that reminds us of our unique agricultural heritage, that thing that should be on our flag, the olive.
مرحبا اهلا وسهلا فيكم في بيتي. Hello, my name is Butaina. Welcome to my kitchen. And today I'm going to make something really special. I'm going to make something called malatit, which is anise cookies, where the most Palestinians made those cookies during the olive harvest. So why they did that? Because those cookies have olive oil in them. Can you believe it? Olive oil in cookies? Yes, they are delicious. They're good. And let's start with the ingredients. So I have here 3 cups of flours, just white flours. I have quarter a cup of anise seeds. I have half a cup of sugar. Those cookies are not too sweet. They're just right and delicious. And I have a cup of olive oil and half a cup of sesame seeds. And I have 1 big tablespoon of anise powder and half teaspoon of baking powder. That's all we need with some warm water. So let's start. I'm gonna put the olive oil. Well, what we do, we put everything and mix it together. It's really simple. Anyone can make it. It's really not hard at all to make. So we put all the ingredients here together like that. And I am going to start mixing with my hands. So the water, I'm gonna put just little by little, so, to see how much I need. Usually, like I need half a cup. I told you that those cookies are special, and let me tell you why. They're special for me because they remind me of my childhood, my village. I'm from a village called Tarshiha in Galilee, where every family in the village used to have olive trees. And in October or beginning of November, people just harvest their olives. And when you're in the streets and you smell this aroma coming from those houses because they're making those beautiful cookies that's called malatit. In Palestine, people cook, according to what's in season. So whenever they have lots of olive oil, they make those cookies and of course other stuff. The olive trees in Palestine, they're very, very old, as you know, and they're like centuries old. So unfortunately, as many of you know, the settlers, of course, they're destroying lots of those olive trees, especially in the West Bank. I think this is why we need to help the farmers back home to plant more and more trees, especially olive trees. And this is why we need your help. So please help us to help the farmers. Back to the cookies. So I have the dough here. I hope you can see it. So it's perfect dough. See, it's very easy to make. Just you mix everything together. This is how it is. If it's too sticky, you can add some flour. If it's too hard, you can just add some water. So this is the dough, and this is the how it should be. What we do, how we shape them, I don't have molds like, like doesn't need molds like what Nora have. What we do, we take like a bowl like that. We, hold on, let me see. You flatten it like this. And just roll it like that. And that's the shape that we need. And we do that so it will be crunchy, because if you make it just like that, I don't know if it will come crunchy. So this is what we do. Let me make another one or couple so you can see. So you make a bowl like that. We flatten it. And then we just roll it like this. And we have this shape. Those cookies can last forever. You can make lots of them, leave them outside, in your kitchen and on the counter, and Tupperware or something, and you can eat from them every day for I can guarantee like 2 months. You can eat them and they're still fresh. So after we make those, we put them in the oven. My husband's supposed to help me go to the oven. We're going to put them in the oven for 350. Okay. We put them in the oven for 350 for 15 to 20 minutes, and we get this beautiful color. It's like golden brown and so crunchy, so beautiful. You can here's gonna put it there. So you can every day in the morning you can eat it with coffee. You can put it in this like beautiful Palestinian plates like that and eat it in the morning with coffee, or in the evening when you have people, you can fill a big plate like this and with tea is excellent. So that's all I, like my recipe, that's all I have. I just have one saying to say, about the trees. زرعوا فأكلنا ونزرع فيأكلون. So the meaning is, they planted and we eat. We're eating now, and we plant, and our children and grandchildren will eat later. So please help us donate, and let's help the farmers in Palestine to plant more trees and other things. Thank you.
I know those cookies will last 2 months, but I don't think they would last 2 hours in my kitchen. Now, while we wait for the oven to preheat in the kitchen of our next and final GP chef du jour, I want to remind everyone that there are many ways to support Growing Palestine's mission. Monetary donations are vital, of course, for the farmers, there's no doubt. But also vital is to create awareness of the need and the movement for food sovereignty. Encourage people to share knowledge about our heirloom heritage and why it's so important to go back to the healthier organic agricultural practices. Also, when the pandemic lifts, keep in mind the farmers always need a helping hand. We encourage you to add your name to our volunteer list on our website. Once travel bans are lifted, we'll be taking volunteers to work and visit the farms for an experience of a lifetime. Okay, I'm getting word that the oven is at a nice even 350 degrees. Time to go visit our last GP chef du jour and her tiny assistants, each vying for who gets to lick the spoon.
Hello, everybody. Welcome. Ahla wa sahla. Today we are making yes, today we are making khraibeh, and with the help of my 2 little daughters,
Leila, Nora.
And I would like to say that khraibeh is one of my favorite treats, and I'm so happy to be sharing it with you today. So one of the reasons that I chose khraibeh is because it's easy, very simple, only 4 ingredients, and it's delicious, and it lasts for a very long time. So that's a big plus. Now let's start. First of all, we are going to be talking about the ingredients, which are not as special as Sahtain and Nora's ingredients, but they're still very super yummy when they're put together. Okay, Leila, should we start adding the ingredients? Can you please tell me what this is?
زبدة
Zibdi, butter, 2 sticks of butter, and
سكر
sukkar, 1 cup of sugar,
طحين
tahine, 2 cups of tahine, and
لوز
almonds. So let's start the cooking process. First, we're going to put, you want to help me with this, Leila?
Yeah.
Go ahead, peel up the other one. We're going to put first the 2 sticks of butter, and this is one of my favorite process. Go ahead. Thank you. Perfect. And we're going to put the powdered sugar, the 1 cup of powdered sugar, and we're going to start just creaming it, mixing it together to the point that it's creamed, which is a very lovely process, I have to say, and very satisfying, because when it becomes creamy and smooth, it's just, you can just see the goodness in it. Now, while I'm doing that, I just want to talk a little bit about why I decided to join Growing Palestine, and why I decided to become active within this great organization. So when I was first introduced to Growing Palestine, I went to one of their events, and I'm just sitting there, and all of a sudden I hear something about seeds from Vivian Sansour. And I'm like, seeds, interesting. And then not just about like anything about seeds, just anything. It was basically a connection, a direct connection between the seeds and your heritage and your culture and things that you would pass down to your children. And, you know, Nora and Leila were just babies, but that resonated with me so much. So I decided to explore a little bit more about what, you know, Growing Palestine does. And it turns out that Growing Palestine supports Palestinian farmers as well. And not just any support, but we try to help them with volunteers, monetary, and just spreading out the word about their work. Because honestly, without farmers, you won't have food. It's as simple as that. And in Palestine, it is actually a bigger challenge than your regular average farmer, because they're competing with occupation, water theft, land theft, all these things that they're facing on a daily basis. So now, as you can see, the butter and the sugar are creamed. Like I said, very good process. And if I wasn't fasting, I'd be dipping my fingers in there right now, but I'm fasting today. And then Nora is going to help me by putting 1 cup of flour first, not all of it. Thank you, Bandora. Thank you very much. And we're going to just start mixing this a little bit together, as you can see, just to kind of get the flour in with the sugar and the butter. And while we're doing that, I just want to kind of ask Leila and Nora a quick question about their visit to Palestine and to the farmers. So Leila, 2 years ago, we went to Palestine, and we visited our very important farmers. And Leila and Nora got to experience what it is to be on a Palestinian farm. So Leila, what was your favorite part? Come closer here. What is your favorite part about going to see the Palestinian farmer?
Picking cucumbers.
Picking cucumbers. And also, I have to say, it was like puppy season or something like that. And so that was a big extra plus to our trip. And I'm gonna put on a glove right now and just mix everything up even better. So you're gonna have to use your hands at some point. Nora, can you help me put the rest of it in there? Thank you. Perfect. There we go. Perfect. Thank you so much. And now, Nora, can you tell me about your favorite part? What, about going to Palestine and seeing the Palestinian farmer and participating there?
That farmers keep planting.
That farmers kept planting. That's nice. Thank you. That's fantastic. That's beautiful. So, I mean, as Nora said, I guess they inspired her just like they inspired me. Their resilience and their grit in the face of a lot of adversity in terms of settlers and in terms of water theft and all these things, kind of inspire you. Like, just like right now, I'm inspired to go into the kitchen, which I don't go into very often, but here I am to support the Palestinian farmer and to support our agriculture and support our heritage and culture and to preserve our food sovereignty and sustainability as well, which is like a global movement now that I'm proud that Palestinians are part of as well. Now, as you can see, it's getting mixed. It's a little bit crumbly, but if you keep trying, I promise it will all come together. And I'm going to get, so after this step, actually, you have to put it in the fridge, and this is very important, is to chill it for an hour. It has to chill in the fridge for an hour. And because we don't have this kind of time, unfortunately, I know you guys want to stay, but we have to go at some point. We have a prepared batter here, which we will shape in little balls. And these little balls, make sure that they're big so that, when it flattens out evenly and not too thin, and just press it on top with an almond. Ready, Layla Noura? Mm-hmm. Okay, let's get to work here. All right, here we go. Grab yourself a little bit. There we go. Crumble it up, Layla. Big part. Here we go. And I'll take some too as well. There we go. And you see, you kind of crumble them up as little balls here. I don't know if you can see this. There we go. And you just press down a little bit. You want some more? Here you go. And here's the almond top here. And you have a little piece of harbi. And another fun fact with this, perfect, Layla, you can put it here. Another fun fact is this, you can put sprinkles on top, you can put powdered sugar on top. So there's several ways when you can do this. So it's like a glorified shortbread cookie. So we're, in the interest of time again, we're going to get the ready prepared from the oven, fresh out of the oven. Whoop. Okay, that needs something to hold on to. Oh wait, let me get this here. Beautiful. I love my work. Here we go. Ready, all set and ready to go. Buttery, smelling absolutely amazing. And oops, let me plate this here. Very crumbly because it's a little bit hot. So be sure to cool it down as well, please. And that's it. Thank you very much for joining us in our kitchen. We hope you extend your support to Growing Palestine, whether monetarily, whether volunteering. We appreciate it. So thank you very much. And Sahtain. You want to say Sahtain?
Sahtain.
Thank you.
So cute. All these sweets look so delicious. Sunset can't come soon enough. That's our show for today. We hope you enjoyed the cooking demos. We wish you luck in your own culinary adventures. And we ask one last time to please consider making a contribution to GP. The link is in the chat. 100% of all funds donated today and every day go directly to supporting Palestinian farmers, thus protecting our land for generations to come. Thank you all for joining us today. Hi, Jamie, I see you out there. Thank you all for your continued support. Sahtain.